You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another book review. Today I'll finally get around to reviewing Hulk Hogan's book, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Now, as with many of the books I've reviewed on this channel, this one I listened to on Audible, so I listened to the audiobook. Now, there are two things to say about that, one of which is very good, one of which is a little bit less good. So the good news is that the book itself is narrated by Hulk Hogan himself, which is great to hear Hulk Hogan tell his story in his own voice. The bad news is the book itself is abridged. It's an abridged version of the audiobook that is less than 2 hours. I repeat, less than 2 hours. The book itself focuses on Hulk Hogan's life and career, his introduction to wrestling, growing up as an overweight kid and getting over that. But there are some things in it that obviously are worth mentioning. Firstly, the book is told by Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's not exactly the most reliable narrator. That's part of what I love about him, is that he embellishes everything and makes shit up. But in this book, in literally every scenario that he is in, every confrontation, every argument, he does make himself out to be the good guy. Now, one could expect him to do that because it's Hulk Hogan, but also I think we all subconsciously do that. We don't like being wrong as people, it's just natural. So, we do kind of reframe things in our head to make us think that we are the good guy. So I don't entirely blame Hulk Hogan for that, but Hulk Hogan does like to make a lot of shit up. He notoriously does that. That's one of the things he's most well known for. So obviously going into this, you have to take everything that is said with a grain of salt. In addition to making himself the good guy in every situation, he also basically makes it seem like Vince McMahon could never do any wrong. Now, obviously, he's friends with Vince McMahon, and Vince himself has, made Hulk Hogan's career. So, of course, he's going to paint him in a favorable light. But I think it does go a little overboard at times with just how much it tries to portray McMahon as always the good guy. I am also a big fan of Vince McMahon, and I do think a lot of problems people have with him are kind of exaggerated and out there. So I don't mind that this paints him in a positive light, but obviously, as I said, it is biased. But again, what do you expect? It's an autobiography, of course it's biased. One of the other things is I'm pretty sure that the full version of this book is where the phrase, "I was telling the truth, but I wasn't being honest," originates from. But unfortunately, this abridged version does not contain that line. I know where it easily would have been. It's when he's talking about steroids, because that's the context behind that line. But, unfortunately, this abridged audiobook does not have that. Now, another problem I have with this audiobook is that it cost a full credit. If you don't know, Audible sells you books as credits. So various lengths with your subscription, 1 credit equals 1 book. And that's pretty much uniform. I think there might be some books that are more than 1 credit, but I've never encountered one. So, for all I know, every book is a credit. But the fact that a book that is less than 2 hours costs me the same as Atlas Shrugged is pretty fucking astonishing. Now, granted, we don't use all of our credits typically, so it was just a spare one we had, so I'm not really beat up about that. I really wanted to listen to this book, and I saw the length long before I bought it. Again, I was a little disappointed that it was abridged, and that it didn't contain the iconic "telling the truth but not being honest" line. That's one of my favorite Hulk Hogan quotes. Because I think Hulk Hogan has a bad rap. I really do like Hulk Hogan. He does a lot of things that are obviously kind of shady. He does a lot of backstage politics. He lies, a lot. He makes a lot of shit up. But I can't help but kind of love him, because Hulk Hogan, I just kind of view it all as an extension of the character. And I don't think he's necessarily a bad guy at heart. I think he is selfish, but I don't think that that's inherently, makes him a bad person. I think he would be hell to work with. That's absolutely true. I would not want to work with him. But I like Hulk Hogan. I like him a lot. I'm a big fan. He's my second favorite wrestler of all time. So obviously this book was a must-read for me. I quite enjoyed the book. It was very fun hearing about his career from his own perspective. And, again, if you're a fan of Hulk Hogan, I would highly recommend it. However, I would probably recommend that you get the actual book rather than the Audible abridged version. Nevertheless, the abridged version is fun, and it is quite easily digestible due to its very short length. So that is also, in a sense, a positive if you don't have the patience for a full-length audiobook. Listening to one that's just under 2 hours is pretty quick and easy. So overall, I liked this book a lot. I really enjoyed it. I've got a couple of little gripes here, and obviously it's Hulk Hogan, so you gotta take everything he says with a little bit of a grain of salt. But I enjoyed it. I like Hulk Hogan. As a Hogan fan, it's a good book. Anyway, this has been Fugitive Red-Eye. Have a good one. Toodles.